Yo, live from the cutout zone. It's Ghost Set Killer, master certified, verified, glass tested and qualified. Welcome to Put 'em on the glass, no flippers, no hacking. Ghost Set Killer with the blade and the tape. Fog it out clean, process style, 80s calibration locked in, keep the focus down. Cups in position, VB dripping, 30-minute MDAT text stay ripping. From the dash to the pillar, it's a full-on class. Respect the craft, put them on the glass.
Hey everyone, welcome to this special edition of the Competition Show. This is Put 'em on the Glass podcast, and I'm going to do a small series to help all the competitors compete. I'm not judging this year. I'm not even sure what my role is going to be, but I will be at Auto Glass Week, and I will have a role to play, but it won't be in judging. So with that being said, I want to help everyone compete at their best and have the most enjoyable experience they can. And today's guest, they actually came last year, and they had a little bit of a hiccup, so we're going to try to guide you through that today. Who's our guest today?
My name is Damien Escobar. I competed last year at the Auto Glass competition.
My name is Isaac Escobar, and we're with All American Glass.
Perfect. And what we're going to talk to you today is getting your tools there. Getting your tools to the show. If you're an East Coaster, if you're out of the country, if you're a West Coaster and you're farther away than you want to drive and you're going to decide to fly down or however, we're going to talk to you today about getting your tools there. Damien had an unfortunate incident last year. He shipped his tools in, and then on the way back, his tools were stolen. Go ahead and tell us about that story a little bit.
You want me to?
Yeah, I'll let him tell you because he handled all the shipping of it.
So we started shopping around for, obviously we're just looking for different logistics companies to LTL a pallet of tools. We wound up using XPO Logistics. It was somebody who,
Hey,
somebody who.
All right, 1 second, Damien. I have to acknowledge our co-host
let's do it.
who was he jumped on a little bit early and then he had to run. He has some things he's dealing with, but go ahead, sir. Introduce yourself.
Bradley Adelot with Glass Monkey, home office, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, at your service.
Yeah. We're talking
Nice.
about shipping tools, and Isaac's talking about his actual what happened to him last year. Go ahead, Isaac.
I want to know about that. Go on.
Yeah, so we shopped around a little bit for freight companies because we knew we thought that would be the best thing, just shipping a pallet, finding a place, a location. We actually were able to ship it to the local migrant there in Orlando, so that was awesome. One of our employees, her husband works for XPO Logistics, and it was just kind of like a seamless. He was just like, "Hey, I got this. I'll give you the sales guy's number." He kind of like hooked us up, and it was easy peasy, like got it all together, got it shipped fairly easy. It was fantastic the way there. I mean, he wanted to give it a little time. We shipped him out on the 9th, and it was there like almost like under 2 days. They got it to Florida, so we're like, oh, sweet. So we go, and the whole competition, everything goes on. Saturday morning, I rush over to Migrant, pack up the tools, throw them on a pallet, and we ship them out. Uh, and then that's where it just got a little murky. About 2 weeks went by from the time they picked them up. So they picked them up September 24th is when XPO actually picked up the tools. And about 2 weeks went by, and we didn't get the tools. And I was trying to be like as logical as possible because the hurricanes were going on there. I was like, I'm not that worried about it. Let's see what happens. Plus, they did such a great job getting them there, So like, anywho, we a few weeks goes by. I reach out to the guy. Hey, what's going on? He's like, oh, you should have got those by now. Let me look into it. Turns out, they picked up the tools. It got to their facility according to their manifest and everything, and then it never left. It never left there. So that was probably like right around like beginning of October. We're starting to think, okay, the tools are missing. So they put out national APB, sending out, putting it through the chains that there's a missing pallet. We went through that for about 2 months. Finally, we jumped into their claims, stuff, and it just got nowhere. Back in January, they sent me an email and they sent me a check. I guess there was some really fine print on our bill of lading that talks about their liability, and I'm not even joking, man. We shipped, and it's excessive. We shipped. It was like 10,000. It would be to replace the tools that we shipped would be $10,000. And so part of that is because like all of our hand tools that we shipped, They were like my extra tools that I had like between the two shops we were running at the time. And so all of my hand tools are Snap-on. Like everything was Snap-on that we sent, you know. And so it was in Snap-on tools alone, it was like $4,600, you know. And then we had like, you know,
Milwaukee pack out.
our Milwaukee Packout system. I mean, you guys saw it there, you know. We wanted to bring a level of professionalism. We thought that like that was what we should do. And so we had like $1,600 in Packout cases. And then we had like our specialty glass tools, you know, the bat, the power knives, the leak detection, the hook tools, the this, the that, whatever, you know what I mean? So it added up really fast, you know. So the cost to replace all those tools was gonna be about 10 grand. So like I said, in January, they sent us you know, a claims response letter and a check and told us that they would pay us a tariff of 10 cents per pound on the shipment. And they sent me a check for $27.50.
Oh my God, you lost $10,000 worth of tools.
So
This
we're
is,
not, we're not, I mean, we're still not out of the woods. Yeah, but we did. We lost 10 grand in tools, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and yesterday, like, so that was in January. We had like direct communication till about mid-February with the guy that brokered the whole thing because I'm like, dude, you never once told me about this fine print. You never gave me any option to add additional insurance coverage, anything like that. There was nothing ever talked about that we needed any of that. So like, what are you guys gonna do? And he's like, oh, I'm gonna get my regional managers getting involved. We're getting involved because he was like, this is bullshit, you know, like they need to cover your loss, you know.
Mhm.
And so anywho, nothing happened. He went radio silent, dude. Like he will not respond to calls. He will not respond to. I mean, me and this dude were texting each other like we were friends and stuff, you know. Like,
Mhm.
and but anyways, so yesterday, our insurance, like for the business, is now we're gonna go that route because at the end of the day, are we gonna? I mean, are we gonna crumble over losing those tools? Like, I mean, it's business as usual. You know, we've rolled on fine. We were able to do business. We had extra, you know, they were extra tools. But at the end of the night, I can't sleep on losing 10 grand. I don't care like how great things are going or not going. Like this losing 10 grand it's just not in the cards, you know. So our insurance is looking into still compensating us and going after them. And that's kind of where it's at.
Okay, what is your
So
insurance asking for? Are they asking for an itemized invoice like of
yeah,
your tools?
I had that already. Like I had a manifest of every single tool that was in there. And we presented that to the freight company.
Hmm.
If they ask us for receipts, we have it because, like I said, half of it is from Snap-on. So obviously, Snap-on's documentation is great. They keep a
Hmm.
really good record of everything they sell you. And then the other tools were all purchased, like, you know,
Through migrant.
through Migrant or through our
Import.
credit card, you know, or our debit card. So we have receipts, or Home Depot for the pack out, you know. So we have receipts if they need that stuff or whatever. So far, he hasn't asked for that. He just asked for an item, like the manifest I sent him was great, and then just a description of what happened, you know, which
Okay.
was pretty much just like what I had just told you. But
If I've
yeah,
dealt with insurance companies, what they're going to do is they're going to give you a depreciation value on those tools. So
yeah,
you'll get something, but you won't get the full amount. The depreciation value on your packouts might not be much, but your Snap-on tools, luckily they don't depreciate that much, so you'll probably get pretty close. To do it again, if someone's shipping their tools, what would you recommend they do?
yeah. So I think I saw a couple competitors. Like, so there's another California competitor who had just about almost the same setup as us with the pack out stuff. And I think he did it right. So I'm talking about Raul Placencia.
Hmm.
He he flew with his tools. So all of his pack out, he kind of just took it, like checked on luggage, locked them all up and took it on there. And then his power tools and stuff, he put in a suitcase. So really nice. He's got a suitcase that fit all of his power tools. And I think he took pretty close to the same,
Yeah.
amount of tools that we took.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I would say that would probably be the best way and the most cost effective way, because we were sitting here thinking like, oh, we don't want to spend that much in, checking on bags and all that. And then here we are dropping like, $1,200 on freight,
Yeah.
and then losing 10 grand. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that's the way, that would be the way to go. Or when you're at the show, right? Like like we're there, you're developing relationships with people, you're talking, there's a camaraderie between competitors.
Hmm.
I think like for us, like if somebody is to reach out to us right now and they want to like ship tools here or something like that. If they're actually going to do it, maybe just get some people involved that are going to help you. If
Yeah.
people that are like far out and they are going to ship their tools, I think, shipping them here to us, maybe we can find out ways to transport some tools for people or whatever. But keeping those tools next to you, I think is the best bet. Like,
Yeah.
so I would take them on the plane going forward. That's what we would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To add on to what another thing that was kind of slap in the face from the company, they were trying to send us to collections over not paying the
Oh no, we still got a collection yesterday.
yeah, they're
We got a
trying to
collection notice for that shipment.
for not paying the coming back.
Because you lost your tools coming
Yeah.
back and they're trying to send you a collection, your tools didn't get there. You
Yeah.
have the right to fight that, and hopefully you will be able to fight that. It's like, okay, I paid you to ship my tools back and they didn't leave
Yeah.
the facility. They're at somebody's house at your facility who decided they were going to cut, hey, this is a lot of pack out stuff, this is worth a lot of money, cut it out, and they hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is, if you're going to ship your tools, partner up with somebody, maybe even partner up with like a Pilkington, a Migrant, and have them ship it across the country the way they would glass. Maybe they'd be willing to do that. I'm not sure. A Migrant, a Pilkington, a independent glass corp, or someone like Import, not independent, Jesus, Import, IGC. Maybe that's a way, or partner up with a local shop in California, in Nevada, ship it to their location, pick it up from their location, and then when you go to ship it back, but look for a reputable shipping company. You guys thought you had a reputable shipping company, though.
Yeah,
They're
XPO
here,
Logistics,
yeah, they're
man.
here.
It's just, but and like I said, the way they knocked it out of the park, man. Like it was, I mean, the shipment was literally there 2 days after it left our shop. Like it was there in Florida waiting. Even Migrant was like, "Hey, your tools are here. They're just sitting here. When are you guys
Mhm.
going to be here?" We're like, "Oh, we're not going to get there until the competition, And so,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say. Um, Definitely cross all your T's, dot all your I's when it comes to what you're selecting and what you're doing. But ultimately, I think for us going forward, we just want that confidence of our tools being with us most of the time,
Yeah.
and watching how Raul kind of like was able to make that happen on the plane. I
Mhm.
would say that's the best route, man. That
Yeah.
that is the best route to do.
Yeah, and you can
You know?
get those TSA locks.
Yep.
I recommend, if you're going to fly with your tools, get the TSA locks. So that way, and they're cheap on Amazon. That way, if they need to open your luggage, they can.
Yeah.
And all checked baggage is traceable now with the apps and everything. So maybe that is the way. Instead of shipping your tools, look to fly with your tools and
Yeah.
use them as checked baggage. Bradley, you compete in the chip repair. How do you get your tools there? You're on mute. You're on mute.
That's cool that you said that, because the way that I've always done it is I've done trade shows before in a previous lifetime, and it's the worst when it gets to be the day of and you're still looking for a box. You're like, oh, it's not here yet. You never want to get, so I send my tools and my kit way early. It's there for an average of about 3 days before the show starts.
Yeah.
I send it to the hotel or convention center. Now I'm working with way less than tools than the replacement technicians are working with, but it's usually 1 or 2 boxes. It's got everything. But something I only learned in Orlando is that a lot of times these convention centers and the hotels, they're charging you a daily stocking fee. So
Yeah,
like
they
I would
wouldn't even
send
give
this
us.
bo- Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even give us the option to do it. We called them and everything. They wouldn't do it.
Oh, they wouldn't even hold it for you.
No.
Well, so I sent mine to the convention center where I was staying, and it was like a $40 a day holding. So when I went to pick it up, instead of just saying, "Hey, here's my ID, I'm here to get my packages sent," because I'd already spent like $150 in shipping, it was another 150 just for them to hand me my boxes because it had been in the room. So you got to there's a sweet spot where you don't want it sitting there for too long,
Yeah.
which also
Yeah.
opens up sticky fingers. Like if you don't want your fiber line in some random dude's weed eater because he doesn't know what it is,
Yeah.
then you got to kind of nail the timeline. So this year I'm going to be sending it probably just to where it gets there maybe the day before.
Gotcha.
And then again, if I'm there without a kit and I've got to do a repair, I can figure something out, dude. I can go to AutoZone and get like one of those Permatex chip repair kits.
There you go,
Yeah, I
dude.
bet
There
you
you
can. I bet you
Dude,
can.
get
Yeah.
some extra points, you know.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
oh, look what he did with the Permatex, man. He did
Yeah.
this with needle and syringe. Give him the gold.
So my recommendation, if you're going to fly with your tools or you're going to ship your tools, before you go, itemize that shit. Make sure that the shipping company has a copy of the itemized. Make sure you have a copy of the itemized on you at all times. Make sure it's broken down. If you have to ship it, purchase extra insurance, whether it's outside that shipping company or inside that shipping company. Read the fine print to make sure that they're not going to try to, give you $27 on $10,000 worth of tools. So make sure you're reading all your fine print. Make sure you're getting everything, in order to get to the show. I like the flying with it idea. I've drove every year, so I didn't have to worry about that, even when it was like 23-hour drive to Texas. And Mackenzie Kerbo drove every year, even though it was from Washington to Orlando. He just took the time to drive, so he always made sure he had his tools, because, it's kind of hard to lose that. And I feel for you guys. I mean, we all were like banding together as an industry trying to find your tools and look for them on the marketplaces and look, to see if we could try to, gather some of those back up for you. But yeah, if you guys heard it here, make sure you're taking those extra precautions to get it there. So figure that into your cost of competing, because it's an extra cost to get there. And, you're already paying a cost to get there. If you haven't received a sponsorship, or even if you did, it's probably only cover your registration fee. So make sure you're taking the time to put together your tools. Now, there will be a show coming up on what tools to take. So, for me, my advice is everything you use on a daily going mobile, because you don't know what you're going to run into. If you're going to run into rust, if you're going to run into where you need to sweep something up, if you're going to run into where you need a 5.5 to take off a door panel on a Ford, and then you don't have it. And then what are you going to do? You're stuck and you're slowed down. So you need to for me, it's everything that I would have mobile to make sure I didn't strand myself out in the middle of a parking lot without being able to complete a job.
Yeah, that was our exact thought process. That's why we sent the amount of tools we did the way we did. Not only that, just the sheer professionalism when you get out there on that floor, you set that thing up and it's just like, oh, okay, like it speaks to the work you do, you know what I mean? Like it's just it's part of the show. But yeah, and the other thing I would throw in there and I'd add in is if we did it again where we were freighting something, we would definitely toss like a ton of air tags in that thing or something.
Yeah.
Some kind of way that like RFID that where we could track it or something a little, some
Great
little
idea.
bit. I think we would do that. Looking back in hindsight now, man, it would have been nice to say, well, hey, my AirTag shows that it's, at old Billy Bob's house.
Yeah.
But and I do want to go back, man. There was so many people in the industry, like when we kind of like put it out there, I think we did a post or we just talked to you guys about it. Like so many people were really helpful and so many people were actively looking, and I was actively looking. I was on Facebook Marketplace and different things like for that area and the area abroad. And like the whole time I've never seen anything pop up on there that's anything of ours.
Yeah.
Because there's some really things like there's some really specific things we would have had, like so one of those things is like our last name is Escobar and my grandfather's name is actually Pablo Escobar, and so but not the Pablo Escobar. And actually I never knew my grandpa. He was in Texas, so I never even met him. But one year, like as a joke, like my wife had bought me this little figurine of Pablo Escobar. And like that thing's always sat in the shop, and like Damien and I would joke, like, "Oh, dude, like when he's doing work, we're like at the competition, so like, oh, Grandpa's watching you, like." And so that thing's gone, bro. So my wife was like, "Oh, I'll just look into getting you another one," She bought it for like $20. That thing's like now like you can't find it for cheaper than like $200 because it's a collector's item. It's just like stuff like that. It's just like that's where it stings. But
I just hope there's some guy out there who got an awesome setup.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
And
I hope
I
he's a glass guy making money.
Or I hope he got into the industry and man, he has everything he needs to do a great job. I will say that. So there's someone out there. I hope he got some training somewhere and he's knocking it out of the park with those tools.
If not, he's using all Damien's certificates. He's saying, he has all like Damien's competitor
he's
package.
like, look,
the book.
I'm certified, with the AGSC. I've got all my certifications through DuPont.
Yeah.
So
that my binder was in there that I had like my packet, everything. So Yeah, I mean, he could go and compete as me, man. Maybe I'll see someone there.
Makes you sick, man.
Oh
Turns your
man,
stomach.
yeah, it does. All right, so real quick, I'm gonna pull up the Autoglass Week site. We're gonna talk for a few minutes, and then we're gonna get you guys out of here. It's gonna be a pretty straightforward, quick little show. I thought I had it pulled up, but I didn't. Anyways, no. Well, I guess that'll go on the next show. So when you guys are looking to ship your tools, fly with your tools, drive with your tools, just make sure no one's responsible for your tools but you.
100%.
And if you're not 100% responsible for them the whole time that they're not in your, they're not in your van or in your site, you need to make sure that you're taking insurance to protect those things.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Do you guys see it up on the screen? Is it up there?
Yes, sir.
Registration. Okay. So we're going to accept the cookies. Okay. So everyone, this is where you're going to go. Autoglassweek.com. If you're not competing, you can use this code to get some money off on getting into the show, as far as getting all your, if you're going for the full registration or even just the show floor, you can compete. Obviously you got to do the registration thing. The registration for competitors, do it sooner than later. Do it sooner than later, because we've found out that it's sold out a couple different times, and but there's going to come a point where it sells out and it can no longer, they can't move it. They can't make it because, we got to comply with the, with the fire marshals for the convention center and everything. So there's your staff you can reach out to. There's the place you can call if you have any information needs. But all right, Damien, Isaac, Bradley, anything to add before we end?
No, I am definitely throwing an air tag in my boxes from now on. And I
Yeah.
have a follow-up question. So I may have missed this segment, but you insured that shipment, correct?
Well, so we didn't. So that's what I was saying about the guy. So we kind of had somebody broker the whole thing. He was just kind of
Got
like
it.
he was like, because he was referred to us from someone that's close to us. So we were just like, and I'm not gonna. It's my fault. Like, I was the one handling it. It's my fault. I should have done all of those things that James had mentioned about, extra insurance, checking the fine print. I should have done all that. But it's like, on the next segments, that's something to talk about. Like, is just the jitters of first time competing. They're not being like a tool list or anything like that, which you should know. It's your responsibility. James nailed on the head. All of this stuff is your responsibility to get this stuff figured out. And so we were just kind of trying to figure it out as we went, so I just kind of trusted that he had all that covered. You know what I mean? I kind of, he knew what was in it. We talked about it. We went over it. I voiced my concerns on it, and not once was there ever, there was nothing that said, hey, you need to get some more insurance or something. You should know that already. So, I can't play dumb. I should have known it. Yeah, but we didn't.
Still,
We didn't get extra insurance,
In your defense, though, those insurance packages, they're almost prohibitive, because if you have a $200 package, a lot of carriers, they will insure, and I'm talking about not an LTL shipment, not a pallet at all. I'm talking about like a box.
Yeah.
If you go and you say, hey, this is worth $200, it like doubles the shipping cost.
Oh yeah.
Most of the time they'll throw in $100 for that's included in the shipping, but I can't even imagine what a pallet that you said is worth 10 grand, how much extra that would have added.
It would have. And then it's just
crazy.
like, it's just like the simple, like the common sense you would think that they would administer. It's just like, hey, you're sending me $27.50 based off 10 cents a pound. So that I sent you a pallet that was essentially like 40 by 30, and it weighed almost 300 pounds. And it's hand tools and some other stuff. So let's do the math. $27.50 is the best you could do. And still, like Damien had touched on, I didn't even think about talking about that, but still till yesterday, I got a collections notice from them, saying that we owed that. So I got to call them this morning when we wrap it up. I'm going to call them, and I'm just going to be like, man, you guys are dumb.
Yeah.
Almost a year later, still fighting this,
Harry
Tell them you'll
Potter
pay
and
it when
the
they find your
audacity.
pallet. Say, I'll pay it when you find my pallet. It's got to be at your warehouse somewhere. It arrived at your warehouse, and then where it disappeared. I mean, you guys are professionals. Be professional. I'll pay it.
I've heard stories, dude, like with freight. Like we found out all kinds of stuff about freight that we didn't know, but I found out, like, there's been times where pallets have sat for like lost in a warehouse for 8 months, to a year. They've had stuff just sitting there. And So up until just like very recently, I was still hopeful that one day these things might show up. I know we run short on time, but one day we had a sales rep here for a uniform company, and she's just in here. She's trying to sell us on uniforms, and like, we're talking with her and we're entertaining it and stuff, and all of a sudden an XPO logistic trucks pulls up into our alley, and it stops at our spot. And she had to have thought we were like two kids on Christmas morning, dude. We lit up. We're like, oh my God. We run out there and they're like, All American Glass. And we're like, yeah. Like, what do you got for us? It turns out it was the product sponsorship from DuPont sending us, the product that we got.
We were so devastated
We
seeing
never
that.
got so excited like in all of our lives, dude. We were just like, but
You've
anyways,
never
we
been
learned a lot, man.
You've never been so bummed to see like a 600 pounds of glue before.
Yeah, right? Yeah, right.
It's like, no, I didn't want this shit.
Send it back. Send it back.
Send it back.
No,
Send
man,
it
no.
back.
But anyways, know what you're doing before you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your livelihood, especially if it's something where you're a one man show and you're sending
Yeah.
you're sending everything you got. Like just like I said, dot all your I's, cross all your T's, and then go back, do it all over. Make sure that you're fully responsible for it. And hopefully on the next shows, someone will give some really good insight on what you should or shouldn't take.
Yeah.
But realistically, we would do it all over again the same way and send the same amount of stuff because just
Yeah.
like James said, you never know what you're going to get.
Yep.
And we want to have everything we possibly can to do the
Yeah.
job.
Just because in the past it's been a windshield and a back glass, a windshield and then an R&I, a back glass, doesn't mean that any years coming up, they're just like, okay, we're going to do a quarter glass this time. We're going to do a door glass this time. We're going to do something that you need a certain tool for. And it's like, oh, I don't have it. And once you enter that ring is when they tell you that especially in the finals, it's what they tell you you're going to be doing is that. And then you can't, once you're in the ring, you can't talk to anybody outside. The best thing you could do is go and hope you have the mercy of one of your competitors and they loan you something. But I mean, you can't always count on that. You're in a competition. You're competing against each other. Be like, okay, well, sorry about your loss, So, I mean, some people will let you do it. Some people won't. You just have to, if you don't have it, you're just kind of stuck. And then, like I said, you need a 5.5 to take off a Ford inner panel for the door glass, and you don't have it. You're stuck. You're taking a pair of pliers or something, and then you're marring it all up, and then there might be a time where you just be like, okay, I don't have it. And then you're automatically fourth place. You know what I mean? Because you've automatically just disqualified yourself because you didn't bring it.
Yeah.
Don't want to be there.
Yep.
I'm excited.
I mean, you guess you could.
Boys rock.
Yep. I can't wait. This is going to be a great year. You had a great run last year. I was super impressed, super, super happy and super proud of you considering that, you took one of my training courses and then you came out and competed like so quickly after taking the course. I was like so pumped to see that. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep posting your Instagram posts. They're fun to watch. Great to look at. You guys definitely do the job right. So thank you for taking pride in what you do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. You heard it here.